Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So over the last 16 hours, we have had two pretty massive extensions. I'd say a top 5 RFA this summer, and at this point, arguably a top 5 UFA. And Alexis Lafreniere and Theodore sign extensions. They are going to be sticking with their teams for a long time at this point. And I thought that I'd go through each of them because, yeah, these are massive deals. I didn't expect either of these guys to hit July 1st and still be unsigned, but they got them out of the way here. And unfortunately, I really like both of these deals. So we're going to break them down in depth. I'm going to give it like a little grade. And we're also going to talk about the Jake Neighbors deal at the end that happened a couple days ago. Far less scale, 2 years, $3.75 million. But let's get into it and let's look at Alexis Lafreniere first. It's a 7-year deal. Reports came out that it's just under 7.6. Nothing's official yet as I'm recording this. I assume it's like 7.56 or something like that. Not going to be like 7.2, massively under 7.6. But yeah, when looking at Lafreniere, 28 goals last year, 29 assists for 57 points in 82 games, playing around 17 minutes a night. And when looking at Lafreniere, what the Ranger fans rightfully so point to is the fact that he did that. He basically went for 30 and 30 while not playing that much power play time. He was on the second power play, and as you can see from the discrepancy, their first power play plays most of the goddamn power play. He only played a minute 16, so he did a lot of this at even strength. Only 6 of his points last year were from the power play, so that is, 51 even strength points? That is very impressive. For example, Zibanejad had 31 power play points last season, so if you look at that, if he was on the top power play, you're looking at around probably like a 75, maybe even sniffing 80-point player last season. And when looking at Lafreniere, although he doesn't play power play, he does play on a damn good line with Trocheck and Panarin. When looking at them last year, they had a 58.1% goals percentage and expected goals. They were also very good, 55.6. He definitely was the worst player on that line, but again, you're looking at a point per game Trocheck and 120-point Artemi Panarin. He is not some passenger on that line like Jesse Puljujarvi back in the day with Connor McDavid, or even Jonathan Drouin last year with Nathan MacKinnon and Mikko Rantanen, still a very good player. He creates a lot. He creates a lot, and he finishes a decent amount, almost 30 goals at even strength. So he is a damn good player. He just turned 23 years old recently, so there's a lot to like with this deal. At $7.6 million, that's going to be second-line money for most of this deal. Like high-end second line money. It runs from his age 24 all the way up to 30. Do I ever think that he's going to live up to his draft expectations of being that franchise superstar? No, not likely. But at this price point for 7 years, he doesn't need to be that. I think he's going to be, once he gets power play time, once either Zibanejad or Kreider start to regress and they eventually put Lafreniere up there, I think that he can be in his prime 85 to 90 points. Will be 100 points like Johnny Lazarus. My good friend always says that he's going to be one day. I would not go that far, but at $7.6 million. Similarly to a Slavkovsky, who had 50 points last year. He's 2 years younger than, or 2.5 years younger than Lafreniere. They're locking up now. He took a very team-friendly deal with this contract, so he just genuinely needs to be like 70 points for this to be a good deal throughout his duration, which is crazy. And most likely, once those older guys start to age, he's going to become the premier forward on this team, most likely. That's going to be the Rangers' future. If he doesn't turn into a legit like 90-ish point guy, they're not going to be that very good in 4 to 5 years, but I think it's trending like he will be in that direction. Is this a Jack Hughes 8x8 going to be one of the best contracts in the entire NHL? Still think Tim Stutzle's deal is one of the best in the NHL. Matthew Boldy's 7x7 has been absolutely amazing. I wouldn't go that far, but it's definitely in that next bucket of 2018 to 2021 draftees. When looking at Lucas Raymond's 8x8.07, Svechnikov signed at like 7.7, Caulfield 8 years 7.875, and Slavkovsky's 8-year deal at 7 point. Much better than a Beniers deal, much better than an Owen Power deal. Owen Power has looked pretty good, better than a Brock Faber or Moritz Seider. It is a very, very good contract. And when looking at it overarching with the New York Rangers, it's massive that they got this out of the way compared to him playing out the season. If one of their guys went down and he went up to that top power play and was sniffing 40 and 40, this probably would have been $8.5 million. And will they spend the money that they saved with this contract? This is a very team-friendly contract. Will they spend it accordingly? I don't know. That money might just go to Igor Shesterkin, who now might want $12.5, $13 million, but it is very damn good for the New York Rangers. Looking at them Even 6 months ago, Barkley Goodrow's contract was atrocious. Trouba's still had 2 years left. Trouba's only going to have 1 year left after this. They're actually in a pretty solid spot in terms of their contracts. I'm trying to think. I can't really think of like an objectively bad deal outside of Trouba with 1 year left on the New York Rangers right now. So the fact that they lock up by far their best under 30 forward at such a reasonable cap hit that even next year, even this year, he's probably going to be around the $7.5 million player. Last year was probably $6.57 million. It is very good by Chris Drury and company. Now they got to get Shesterkin, who's an unrestricted free agent, rightfully so, is not going to take as team-friendly of a deal, considering this is his true payday. A guy like Lafreniere is going to get paid again when he's 30 years old. He's going to get a 7-8 year deal if he re-signs, 8 year deal with the New York Rangers, 7-year deal if it's with someone else. But very good for the New York Rangers. I'm going to go with an A. Some people think that I'm biased against the Rangers. I think I call it pretty down the middle. And as a result, I think that this is an A. He hasn't taken that star step. Again, not saying he's going to like revert and never get to 30 and 30 or be better than that. He hasn't truly proved himself. It's 7 games right now. He has 4 goals and 3 assists. He's been very good. So I can't quite go like A+ quite yet, but it is definitely an A, maybe an A- right now for the New York Rangers. When looking at Shea Theodore, 7-year deal, $7.425 million. I really like this deal for the Vegas Golden Knights. When looking at Shea Theodore in recent years, basically since the 2021 season, he's been awesome. He's had 184 points in 239 games, good for 63-point pace. He was healthy for the 4 seasons leading up to the 2023 season, has dealt with some injuries the last 2 seasons, missing 62 games. That's a little bit concerning. But when looking at him over this season and last season, the guy has 49 points in 53 games. He is truly one of the premier offensive defensemen in the entire NHL. And the fact that they're able to somehow keep on finding this money to keep their 3-headed monster of him, Hanifin, and Pietrangelo is very impressive. Not the best defensive defenseman at this point in his career, or just point blank period, but he has been very effective with Braden McNabb over prior years. I'm looking at their expected goal share. Last year, 51%. 2023, they rocked a 53.8%. 2022, they had an impressive, where are they? 52%. He's been able to really thrive with a more so defensive partner and be around the 60 to 65 point pace guy. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to be like 2019 through 2022 when he really didn't miss any games, like 4 games in a season was the most that he missed. And this is going to be a damn good deal. I think right now for Shea Theodore, I'm not saying he's a top 15 defenseman, but he's definitely in that next tier. He's a top 18 to 25 defenseman in the NHL. Not the most complete number one, but I think that he is an elite top pair defenseman. So I think he is 29 years old, just turned 29 a couple months ago. There is maybe some age concern with this, but when looking at the Vegas Golden Knights, you look at their core, Eichel and Hanifin turned 28 in a couple months. Barbashev's 28, Hurdle's 30, Carlson's 31, Stone's 32, Pietrangelo's 34. He's on the younger side of this core, and I think the first 2 to 3 years of this deal for sure, maybe even year 4, maybe even year 5, he's going to be worth between $8.25 and $7.5 million, especially with the cap going up. He is around an $8-ish million defenseman at this point. So you get him at $7.42 million. Maybe the final years of those deals will stink, but Vegas most likely, unless they somehow just stay a good playoff team contender for the next 2 decades, they're going to have to be rebuilding regardless towards the end of his contract. So I'm not that concerned with the age risk of this deal, considering Vegas's window only is for another 2 to 3 years when looking at Stone and Pietrangelo really starting to get up there in age. But I would give this an A- for the Vegas Golden Knights. They get some serious surplus value on the start of this. I've just always been pretty high on Shea Theodore, so I got to like this deal a decent amount for the Vegas Golden Knights, and also for him, one of the OGs for the Vegas Golden Knights, the fact that they locked him up. That's pretty damn cool. And then lastly, we got Jake Neighbors, 2 years at $3.75 million. 27 goals last year, 38 points at 21 years old. When looking at it, only played like 15 minutes a night. He shot 18.6%, which initially, when I saw 27 goals, I thought he was shooting like 24, 25%. So 18% isn't sustainable, but it's not like completely out of there. He can maybe be a 14, 15% shooter for most of his career. The underlying numbers really weren't that impressive for Jake Neighbors. Again, it was more so his finishing last year that carried a decent amount, but at 22 years old, it's a good bridge deal to get out of the way, because if he went for 20, 25 goals this season, that number probably would have climbed into the 4s. So it's good right now. He's not some elite first liner down the line, in my opinion, but I think he can be a damn good second liner for the Vegas Golden Knights, for the St. Louis Blues. And it's good that they got it out of the way now. Also, Jake Jake Ottinger, I already on my podcast, go check that out. I talked about that deal. 8 years, $8.25 million. Very good deal for both parties. Playing out of his mind right now, so it's good that they locked him up now, because if he had a Vezina caliber season this year, probably would have been 8.75, 9, maybe even $9.5 million. But yeah, Jake Ottinger at this point, I think, is a consensus top 10 defenseman, definitely in the back half of that top 10, but at 8 years, it's his age 26 to 33 seasons. He is massive for the Dallas Stars. Yes, the Dallas Stars are a good team, but they've been such a good regular season team the last couple of years because he's been a good regular season goaltender and also has shown up in a massive way in certain playoff series. So yeah, Lafreniere, I'm going to go with an A. Theodore, A-. Jake Neighbors, B+, could be a steal. And then Jake Ottinger as well. I'm going to go with a B+. He got paid a decent amount, similarly to Swayman and some of the other elite goalies in the NHL. That's the video. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about those two big deals? What do you think about Neighbors? What do you think about Ottinger? People are locking up their guys early. It's looking like yet again we will not have that juicy of an unrestricted free agency cycle. See ya.